That was well timed.
By the way, I got an additional link in the chat if you want to take a look.
Oh man, I think we're on this time though.
Oh yeah, we are on.
Boom! Oh, wow. Damn, what the hell is up with everything? Oh, wait, what is this link? Oh, never mind. I looked at the wrong thing. A Discord thing. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I can dig that.
I think that's a pretty good link.
That's a good one. That is a good one. I just got to figure out where I put all the other links. I've lost it in my smorgasbord of tabs.
It's one of those tabs. It's somewhere.
Oh, God.
Like one of those tabs, one of those. You just gotta find them.
Wait, Beel, why did you want Ricksta?
I was just saying
no one wants Ricksta. No, I was gonna ask him, like, why didn't he play Bob against JDCR?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, did he switch characters at all?
I think he stuck with Akuma, and the thing was that he did pretty well with Bob before against JDCR. With Bob against JDCR. Yeah.
Oh, he did. He switched to Bob against Nap.
Yep.
Yeah. Why? He should have saved
that was a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Against JDCR, he has the history. Should have went with it.
Wait,
but,
what do you mean?
That's hindsight.
What do you mean he has the history?
From what I recall, he did go kind of even with JDCR with Bob before.
When was that?
Low-key a god?
That sounds bullshit as fuck. Like, what?
I know, it doesn't sound real.
It's something I heard. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, that sounds pretty wrong. That sounds pretty wrong.
All right,
here we go, boys. I'm gonna fade out the music. I'm gonna magically bring in the podcast as I continue to fade out the music, and boom, there we are. Welcome back to the BOOMcast. My name is Rip. I'm joined by MYK, BL, and special guest today, Speedkicks, all the way from Atlanta.
What's up, guys?
I think I'm hearing a small echo from Speedkicks.
Oh no, we got that issue again.
I think it's just a tiny echo. Hopefully,
again?
Well, something's up. I mean, MYK, say something really loud again.
Hello, what's up, everybody?
I don't know. It seems okay enough, I guess. But whatever. It seems like it's working enough. We've got Speedkicks with us today. Coming off his decent performance at SCR. I don't think you consider your best performance. Speedkicks. Well, tell us what do you think about SCR in general.
SCR was a pretty amazing event. I really liked the venue and how everything was run. And my performance, I'm not really happy with the way the results I got, but my performance I'm pretty okay with.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think you got 9th place. It was a master level event, so a lot of points on the line for a lot of players. But I think you overall, where are you in the rankings anyway?
I believe I am still 2nd place because the people who could take my rank or my placing, they didn't make it that far either.
Got it. So let me see. I think if I do this, I think we're gonna boom. There it is. Speedkicks in 2nd place, still 215 points. So yeah, if we look at his ranking really quick, Anakin's still in 1st. He didn't even come to SCR. Joey Fury, 175 points now in 3rd place. I think he was there before, right? I mean, his top 8 finish. I don't know if these points have been updated yet since SCR.
Oh yeah, I think he was 2nd for a while, Joey Fury. So
was he? Wasn't Speed 2nd? Speed, weren't you 2nd?
Before SCR, yeah, I was 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay. I got 2nd. I got my 2nd place back. I think after winning ECT.
Okay. And so the interesting thing here is that Peeling's in 4th, Wei Gamble's in 5th. Those are the guys who are kind of in this toss-up kind of position. So with the rest of the tour, the way it's shaping up right now, I feel like anything can happen. Like absolutely anything. Right now, we've had one master event before this, which was CEO. Then they had these online events, and now we had SCR last week. This week we're gonna have TFC. Next week TXT in Chile, and then after that DreamHack Denver. And each of those events is something like I think 100 and something points for first, right?
150, yeah.
Yeah, it's 150 points for first. So when you look back at these standings again, it's Anakin with 325. He's sitting comfortable now, but I mean, I don't think he's going to fall out, right? I mean, mathematically, I think there's a way to calculate this speed. You'd probably be the person to ask, but I feel like there's probably a mathematical way to say, like, if you have X number of points, you're in no matter what, because there's only so many points available, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Anakin is probably secured. Does that mean you're close, Speed? I've heard the magic number is 300.
You've heard the magic number is 300. I haven't done all that calculation yet. I'm just playing the game.
Yeah. Alrighty, cool, man. So like, yeah, the last I remember, you came to California for Strong Style. Is this your first time in SoCal?
It's my first time in that area. I've been to San Diego a couple of times for like family visits and stuff.
Okay.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, and that was like right before Strong Style. The last time I went, actually, I had like this huge training session with Incog back in the day.
That's awesome. I mean, like, so who do you train with nowadays anyway?
Practice mode.
Damn, practice. What about Jeremiah Walker? We saw his pepperonis earlier walking behind your door.
Oh, so
I'll play him a little bit, but it doesn't last that long because eventually he just gets mad and he'll rage quit.
Tight. I have had training partners like that in the past. It's always good when you can have someone who can take a loss and not get all butthurt about it. But, that's, I guess, just how some people are wired. But Jeremiah Walker's been doing pretty well, but he hasn't really been coming out to events either, right?
Yeah, he hasn't been coming out. The last event he went to, I think, was CEO, or then DreamHack, of course.
Yeah, DreamHack Atlanta, that's right. That was not a master level event. So, the next couple events coming up, obviously a ton of points online. Anything can happen. I'll show you guys the standings one more time, but while I was looking at these standings, something crossed my mind, and I just remembered that number 3, number 4, and number 5, Joey Fury, Peeling, and Way Gamble, they all have something in common, and they were all on this team, MYK, called
correct.
ITS. But this just in, all these guys are no longer with ITS. Joey Fury, of course, moved to Circa a while ago. But Peeling and I believe it's Kawhi face Miles and 725 all are no longer with ITS as of like yesterday or something. Yeah, your team is shrinking.
On?
Well, you tell us, Mike. You're ITS. Let us know about your team, dude.
I mean, damn, way to put me on the spot. Like,
it's your team. I'm not gonna ask Speedkicks about it.
For ITS about it all of a sudden.
On this panel, MYK.
I'm the solo ambassador for the whole team or something, right?
On this panel, it's got to be you. I'm not gonna ask BLbeel about it. I'm not gonna ask Speedkicks from Panda Global to tell me about ITS.
Such a loaded question, though. I mean, I just saw that Twitter news, obviously, like Peeling announcing that he's a free agent. Other than that, I just recently found out, like literally, like maybe earlier today, that 725 is no longer on it. And I didn't even know about Kawhi Face Miles either. So that's pretty much a new predicament for me. It was like I'm just on the team, like like the Chetty response where he's saying like, I'm just cool with whoever, and then the leader, and then it's like it's not like it's cool, but like it's kind of weird now that everybody's leaving, and what's going on? The band is like just started, and then we did like 1 or 2 tours, and now we're all just like, you know what, I don't need this band anymore, I'm too good for this band, I'm gonna go somewhere else. It's like, I understand that too, but then I guess I could see what's going on with that, but it's pretty crazy, man.
Are you concerned about your sponsorship, or is this everyone leaving the team?
I think it's everyone independently leaving the team, so I'm not too concerned about it, but we'll see what happens in the future. It is pretty crazy that all of a sudden that everybody's just up and leaving, so it's just a little weird.
I did also find it weird that in this guy's Twitter account tweeted at SRK ranking to remove Princess Ling, Kawhi Face Miles, and 725 from their roster. So they were actively, getting rid of them from the rankings.
Right. I think that's just that more of they want them to make sure that they're not associated with the team anymore, so that they can be open to other sponsorships.
And then they deleted that tweet.
Oh, they deleted the tweet? Why would they delete that tweet?
I don't know. Who knows what that means? But
regardless of everyone's thoughts on ITS, obviously everyone thinks it's kind of like the bootleg sponsor out there, because they had like 100 players. So now at least, Spirogen, of course, has also left them in the past. So it seems like most of their notable players who are like in the top 15, top 20 of the overall standings on Tekken World Tour have kind of left the team now, right? But at the same time, I feel like a lot of these guys are open to other sponsorships. So I feel like ITS is kind of this good stepping ground where it's like, hey, look, I'm like able to be repped by a sponsor, so once they leave the team, other sponsors look at them with this kind of eye of like, well, somebody else thought they were worth investing in, maybe I should put some money towards them too.
That is true. I mean, there is one thing that I did mention to Eris. I don't know if I should be saying this.
Go on.
Like, a little bit about it is that I told him, like, dude, honestly, I don't know where Tekken's gonna be next year. You know, at Evo. This is at Evo. I told him, like, I don't know what's going on. This was just like I was planning on going to a lot more Tekken World Tour events, you know, but didn't really pan out. And I was just like, you know, what do I do with it now? You know, it's just kind of like, it's like, because he was saying, like, I think you shouldn't have gone with ITS because you know, you pretty much close the door for yourself, you know. And he's like, but I'm like, I don't know where Tekken's going to be at next year, if we're even going to get the same entrance for Evo like we did this year and next year. The
Right.
people might be dropping out. Like, we're just gradually seeing Wednesday Night Fights numbers dropping down and stuff. So it's like, it's kind of already, proof is in the pudding already. So
Right, and you know, Speedkicks, you've had a lot of experience with a lot of teams in the past year, right? I mean, you've been on like 3 teams in this past year, right?
Yep.
Like, can you give us a rundown or what your thoughts are on joining
So-
teams and moving to other teams?
Essentially, you know, I don't like, you know, previously I didn't really see a reason, you know, not to do that. Like MYK said, we have no idea where Tekken's going to be, and like wherever. I didn't know it was going to be here. You know, like earlier this year, January, I signed with In Control. I thought that was like, okay, Tekken, this is good for Tekken. And then, you know, I moved past that. I was on Hazardous. That was pretty good for what Tekken was at the time. And then Tekken just kept growing viewership, you know, like sponsorship interests. And then I'm like, hey, wait, I can, you know, like do more.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, did that. But it's all kind of weird right now because we have no idea like what's going to happen next. It's kind of like a roller
Right.
coaster.
I think like a lot of people don't know whether the Tekken World Tour is going to return next year. You know, they know that we had the Tekken Tour at the arcades. They know that this year we got one because the console release happened. But what about next year? Does it continue? You know, I think that's kind of the question on everyone's mind right now. So, you know, I kind of agree with a lot of you guys. And, you know, as far as like whether you guys should accept like a sponsorship opportunity now, I mean, let's go back to this one more time just to take a look at this. You know, this is the rankings again for the top 5, and out of this top 5, there's only one sponsored player, and that is the man on this call, Speedkicks, right?
wait, is he Joey Fury? Sorta
Oh, you're
now.
right. You're right. You're sorry. I'm sorry. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. My bad. My bad. Two of the players is sponsored, but ranking number 1, Anakin, is not sponsored by anybody, right? And so you got to imagine if the best player, arguably, in terms of ranking points, is unable to get sponsored, you know, or not picked up right away after he left his last sponsorship, like how valuable is Tekken in the eyes of all these sponsors?
I think it's telling people now that it's not just, you know, just go with whatever. It seems like now people like Anakin, for example, he's waiting, like he's hinted in Twitter that he's just waiting for something big to happen, you know, like he's waiting for the right sponsor for him, you know. So it's like, it seems like they've already had the stepping stone sponsors and now they're trying to move to the next step and get, you know, we're pushing it to that next level on esports for Tekken, you know.
Well, I think that is a great idea. I didn't know that Anakin was waiting it out, but that makes way more sense. So yeah, if you guys haven't heard, Stream.me Anakin is no more. All right, Anakin is a completely free agent. He's streaming on Twitch. Did he ever leave Twitch?
Even when he was with StreamMe, he was still streaming on Twitch. Even though I think he was supposed to only stream on StreamMe, so that was kind of weird.
Good call, Anakin. Well done. You know, but I mean, despite, you know, obviously whatever that arrangement was, I think it's a great idea that he is going to wait out for a good sponsorship at this point, because obviously, like I mentioned before, you know, he's easily a top 3 player in the country, if not top 2, right? I mean, to me, it's Anakin, Speedkicks, and Naps as like the top 3. I think that's a little bit. I don't want to be insulting to Joy Fury. He's ranked number 3 right now, but you know, Mr. Naps came into one event and he's already tied for 12th. You know, so I feel like he is USA's best hope right now at defeating the Koreans. I mean, I know Joy Fury has done in the past. I know Spiro has done in the past. Speed, have you beaten the Koreans in any tournaments yet?
Not Tekken 7.
Not Tekken 7, right? And so, has Anakin in Tekken 7?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else has in Tekken 7. So, I mean, when I think about Naps, I don't know that he has either. Has he?
He almost has.
What does that mean? Against John Ding?
John Ding.
And not just John Ding, but against Nee too at
The Globals.
World
Oh
Final.
yeah, that
Globals.
one was sick.
That was
was
an amazing match.
It was,
That was a sick match.
most definitely, yeah. That was last year's global tournament, Naps versus Nee. And that's the thing about Jimmy. When I see him play against the Koreans, I don't see him nervous at all. I see him going in there. He just plays the game the way as he always does. Whereas when I see Anakin play, and maybe I'll try and get him on the BOOMcast at some point to ask him about this, but I feel like he doesn't play like himself anymore. I don't know.
I was sitting right next to Nin. Yeah, I was sitting right next to Nin and Evo, and he was like, "Did he not get powered up enough? Is he not okay? What's going on with Anakin? This isn't normal Anakin." Even Kokomo was right there too. He's like, "What is going on with Anakin?" Everybody was saying the same thing, and I was like, "I didn't know what to tell him. I don't know."
Yeah,
I don't know.
Speed, you've played with Anakin a bunch. Do you think he plays different against the Koreans?
Yeah, it's at this point it's definitely a mental block, and you can definitely see it like in the changes in his gameplay. When he's playing against like other American players, he'll be like really confident in his reads and making all his Anakin decisions, and looks really cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch like older Tekken 6 matches where he actually did beat the Korean players, he was playing the same way.
Right.
But now, like whenever he goes up against a Korean player, it's like a very scared version of Anakin.
Mm.
And like when he played against Nee at Evo, I saw him playing like more confidently, and I was like, okay, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
He lost that match, but I was like, okay, bring that to the next match, and you can do well. He played against Taisei, and he was a scared player again, and it was sad to watch.
That's a bummer. I mean, hopefully whatever that is, he can get over it, obviously, because he is one of America's greatest players, and so we need him to take out the Koreans. But I think this is a good opportunity to transition here, because Speedkicks, you made this tweet. And did you make this image, by the way, with Mr. Naps?
No, I did not. Josh Chen, Noodlehead. He made that image on Facebook. I saw it. I was like, this is amazing. And the world needs to know about this.
Yeah, so it says, you said, when you're up against a Korean player after only having the game for 3 months and the Chloe string catches your sidewalk, and he sees Jimmy, with all the formulas and equations in the background. It's hilarious, fantastic. But
or the John Ding version as well.
Oh yeah, the John Ding version. I think I got that right here too. Actually, not accurate, only hilarious. And he's just like 2 + 2 is 5 for her. Hurt her. But the funny thing here, obviously you make this tweet, and then Michael Murray responds to you, and he says, like the outcome would be any different if you had the game at the same time as the Koreans. LOL. And I mean, I'll let you talk about the Speed. Like, what did you feel like when you saw this Michael Murray tweet? I'm not even going to look at the replies back there. I just want to know what you thought at the moment and how you feel about it now.
At the moment, when I first saw it, like when it was a fresh tweet, I was actually sitting next to my coach, and I was like, "Oh no, Michael Murray messed up." I was like, "This is a bad decision." So I tried to reply to it. I was just like, "Ha!" That was like my response, right? Because I knew he was joking, and I knew.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I know, like Michael Murray is like trying to start some crap on Twitter, but I knew that the whole world was going to go crazy, and they did.
Right. I mean, obviously, a lot of people in the community look at Michael Murray as this senior figure at Bandai Namco, which he is. So when they see something like this, and they know how long we waited for the game. Obviously, it's a formula for destruction. I think that's what that is. So it was obviously not the best thing to say, but for those of us who know Michael Murray, I think it's obvious. We know he's kind of joking at the same time. But obviously, you told me today that you didn't know if you would have time to come on the podcast because you were busy practicing because you've got to go to the Fall Classic tomorrow, right? So regardless of this tweet thing that happened, I saw even like Cody and Annika were talking about it, but regardless of all that, do you feel that you as a player can still have a chance against these Korean players at the highest level in the tournaments?
Yes. Today I am a lot better than I was 2 days ago.
What?
And like 2 days ago I'm a lot better than I was.
Sounds like
at
I'm reading one of your tweets, man.
Dude, no. I am so serious. That's how like the learning Tekken works. You learn things in different like spikes, and you get like these different revelations about how you should be looking at the game at any time, and just like when you get the time with the game, you get like a series of those. I've been practicing really hard, and every time I play a little bit, I get a little bit better. And at CEO, when I played JDCR after getting 6-0'd by his Dragunov at final round,
Oh yeah.
I was able to go 1-1, winning that second game. against the Dragon Up when he switched to Heihachi, and I had like no Heihachi experience at all.
Got it.
So and I got bodied. So I think the more I play, the better my chances get, and I am definitely sure that like my training will pay off at some point.
Okay, I mean, like, to elaborate on this before we move on, like, I think what he just said right there, to elaborate on what he just said and that Twitter post, you know, it's just like, that proves it right there. Like, that's right there. Like, Korea and Japan had that for 3 years advantage ahead of us, and it's just like, it kind of sucks as, like, a competitive player. It sucked that Evo had console only a month ahead of it. Like, all that shit sucked, man. like, I'm being, like,
wrong.
for... Like what the hell, bro? Like and then they're gonna come in fleets with like 15 players at Evo, and then it's like, how the hell did we even get 2 Americans in top 8? You know, it's just like, it's just so frustrating trying to be a competitive player when they have 3 years ahead gap. When Speedkicks is going through his hyperbolic time chamber every 2 days, you know, finding out new stuff. It's just like, dude, they've been doing that shit for 3 years. 3 years. And then we've seen it. The proof is in the pudding with Street Fighter V, right? Equal footing, equal release, worldwide. America's like considered top, like with Punk and like Knuckle Dew and all that, right? So it's just like, we've seen it before. It's like, it's not impossible for us to, like, it's like, we have a little like hint, like little sparkle of like when an American player is able to like get around or get a close game on a Korean. It's like, it's there. But they still had a 3-year gap ahead of us. So it's like...
What I like to really think about is the fact that Mr. Nap's match went down to like the last hit. You know, Mr. Naps versus Junding. Mm-hmm. That went down to like the last hit. And I'm pretty sure if you gave Jimmy 2 years of Tekken, he'd be a better player than he was, 2 years ago.
That's pretty effed up to think about it that way.
Yeah, he could have gotten at least one more hit.
Yeah, and I mean, that would have made him top 5 guaranteed, right? It would have put him winner side of top 8 instead. I mean, he still ended up getting... What did he get? He got 4th, I think, right? So it was the Korean top 3, and then Jimmy got 4th, highest placing American at SCR. But yeah, I think you're spot on with that. You know, the 2-year, 3-year gap, it does make a significant difference. Hopefully that'll go away in the future. You know, I mean, if you take it back to even Tekken 6, we had Tekken 6 here on the West Coast at least early.
And we had New York.
Right, we had it in the arcades along with everyone else. And if you look at the Evo results, we're up there. Like, we don't necessarily... I mean, I got fucked up by Nin, that's for sure. But aside from that, a lot of you guys didn't see it, but when Nia and Nin came to SoCal, they were at Vid94, and me, Nin, Just Frame James, and Nee, and some others were playing casuals. Not casuals, we were just at the arcade playing, I guess. And we were running sets, and I was getting hella games on Nee, but Nin would be botting me, and then James would be beating Nin, but then Nee would be botting James, and then afterwards we had a little talk with them, and they were like, oh yeah, Nin was like, James is a better law player, and Nee was like, Rip is a better law player, because at the time, it was much easier. We were all kind of on equal footing at the time, but now it's the gap is just blown up. It's kind of
crazy
ridiculous.
Because even back then, it's like the way I was thinking about it is like when we had the first to 10s at Wes's house, right? 21 Wes's house. Mm-hmm. Like we had the first to 10 against the 3 Koreans, Holman and Nee, right? In Tekken 6. And it's like I think I got like 5 or 4 in a first to 10 on Nin, right? Mm-hmm. With Lars versus his Steve. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, dude, that's all it is in a tournament. If I had those 2 games in a tournament match, I would have beat him in a tournament. That's all it is. But it's like, of course, there, like tournament strategy, you cash in on your mix-ups and blah, blah, blah. There's all that planned stuff too. But it's just like, this game is just a little frustrating with the 2-3 year gap. It's just like, they have so much more to play with, I feel like. It's just, it feels bad, man.
It's frustrating to go against, but as a competitor, like to avoid having basically what that mental block that Anakin has, you can't think about that stuff, right? You can't think, okay, these guys are gods, these guys have been playing forever. You go in, you have your game plan. Your game plan's gonna be shaky. You don't have all the details solid, all the knowledge about the game. Random stuff can happen, and you have to play around the fact that stuff can happen that you won't know can happen, and you have to try to get that win anyway. Absolutely. It's just like getting a round or 2 off of them. It's like, oh, I can make them bleed. You get that. It's like, damn, they're not invincible.
Yeah, for real. Beel, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, all that experience and knowledge does matter, especially when building it into muscle memory. So what happened when I was doing my IRL stream? I actually caught JDCR practicing.
Oh yeah.
And while he was practicing, he had the practice mode options like at the back of his hand. He was going through them so fast. It was completely muscle memory in the practice mode options.
Mm-hmm.
So you could tell he could go through that so fast. And he was practicing all the different little step things. I think Weapon X even went up saying, "Hey, do you want to play some casuals?" And he's like, "No, only practice."
Weapon X, get out of here! You're trash. I'd rather have practice mode. You're
Yeah,
the
but
better
then when
opponent.
another Korean came by, he says, "Hey, come play me."
Wow. So he actually did mean it. Damn, I was just joking. Sorry, Weapon X. That's rough. It's a
But
rough
yeah,
situation.
they were still playing practice mode, so you could tell his muscle memory was in there, from practice mode, just from those years, those extra years of playing.
And
Yeah, I definitely caught a glimpse of that too. It was crazy. He just had to at one point he just turned the computer on very hard difficulty, and he was just running in, sidestepping this, low parrying this, buffered into his movement. I'm just like, okay, dude, all right.
He knows,
Yeah,
man.
man.
He's had some time.
JDCR is such a machine that he could only practice against another machine, the CPU.
And I think what's important, because Michael Murray was talking about how you don't want to be unfair to them and all their hard work they put in.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to note that JDCR is a master of Tekken at this point, right? Like he is the best player because of the time and work he's put into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one's saying that he's putting in trash work. If I had the game as long as he did, we'd be beating him free.
Right.
They're saying that we haven't been given a chance to put in that equal amount of work to see if the work we put in can match the work he's put in.
Yeah, that's well said, I think, and that's an important thing to remember when discussing this, because obviously JDCR is still JDCR. If we had the game that's just as long as him, we might not have put in as much work as him, and he might still be the best player out there anyway, right?
Yep.
I'm still curious to see how things shake down at the end of this year. I was talking to Saint at SCR, and I was like, "Hey man, are you gonna win this global tournament this year? You're last year's defending global champion. You're last year's Evo champion." And he was like, he looked kind of defeated. He was like, I didn't win Evo this year. And that was his reply to me, basically. And I was like, what does that mean, dude? Like, who cares? Beat his ass. Beat his ass. But, I mean, and obviously I say that, and I love JD, right? So he's been a longtime friend since, 2011 or something. So with that said, I still like to see these two battle it out. And I want to see it kind of go back and forth. I don't think any of us wants to see JD just continually winning every single time and Saint always coming in second place, right?
And speaking of which, that's the other big topic, right?
Yeah.
The Echo Fox Grand Finals. It's just
It is.
I feel like it's kind of killing Tekken, dude.
You think it's killing Tekken?
I think it's killing Tekken, honestly.
What do you think about that, Speed?
It's getting tiring to watch. I don't. I get more excited when it's like winners finals, some American player versus some foreign player, and then in grand finals I just go to sleep or something.
Holy crap! Hold on. I'm seeing people in the chat typing collusion. Can we ban all those guys typing collusion in the chat right now?
Shit.
I mean,
Oh,
I don't want to
man,
make your mod
hard.
job so hard, but fucking, you guys got to be careful in the chat. You guys can't be typing shit like that. It's crazy. So speaking of which, BL, our resident TMZ, what the fuck did you call it? I don't even give a fuck. BL, tell them about this this drama that unfolded as far as collusion in the commentary. Collusion in the commentary. The Pina Coludas go.
So what happened was, after Eris made that Pina Coluda joke, which is it's a meme in the fighting game community. Everyone knows it's a joke. They don't take it really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
This guy blows up on Eris on Twitter and says, "Yep, thanks, avoid the puddle. I can't even enjoy this match anymore. Effing jackass." And he goes on a multi-tweet tirade that eventually, he eventually apologized for it, but before that, he was supported by two other folks.
Yeah, and so if we go on forward, this is
Yes.
Z from Tekken Gamer. I have actually no issue with Tekken Gamer. I love that the site came up. At the time, I was thinking about bringing up levelupyourgameagain.com. I'm rebuilding the website, putting all the Tekken news out, and then Tekken Gamer came out, and I was like, oh, sick, somebody's doing it for the Tekken community. I don't got to do it. That's fantastic. But here's what he said to Eris. He said, that collusion comment on stream made our jobs very hard in the Tekken chat as mods, bro. Just FYI. And so a little background before we get even further into this, but, I was commentating the top 8 with theirs, right? So I'm sitting there. Before we went up there, we knew what we were getting into, right? There was 3 Koreans in winner's side of top 8. So odds are it's going to be a Korean winner final, and still odds are there'll be 3 out of 4 Koreans in the top 4. So, that was kind of expected. And we're like, all right, well, people aren't going to give a shit, but we're going to go and we're going to make this as entertaining as possible, right? And that's what we do as commentators. So we go in there, we're doing our thing. I thought we were having a good time out there. Eris brought up the Pina Colada thing. And when he brought it up, I'm pretty sure on commentary, I never agreed with him once. I never was like, yeah, I think they're colluding. I don't think I ever did that. I think that's why I was never mentioned in any of this. I think I was always the one who was saying, like, no way, man. Look at Saint's 6-pack on his forehead. He's trying real hard right now, right? So, I think that's kind of where I was the whole time with it. So, what happened was we ended up getting off the commentary. We ended up with that sick comment, right? The Eris saying, like, make sure you guys get ready. Marvel's coming up. I'm so excited. And I'm like, it's going to look good. And then, I smile, Eris laughs, the chat goes down, or the stream goes down. They start playing the replay package. And I'm like, yo, that was sick. All right. So I stand up. And usually at this point, like, you and your co-commentator, whatever, you'll talk about it, be like, yo, man, good shit, man, whatever. Shake hands. We're good. Instead, as soon as we stood up, Hanzo Gonzo and some of the other production guys looks over at us and they're like, yo, check out Twitter, man. Twitter drama. I was like, what? What just happened? So, we didn't even get to the point where we're like, hey, good stuff. It's just like, yo, you guys better check out Twitter. There's a lot of Twitter drama right now. And I was like, what the hell do we do? At the time, honestly, I thought we got some tweet from Harada. Because all we were talking about was sticking Harada's fingers everywhere. I was like, oh, he's going to need more of Harada's fingers in him right now. That's what I thought we were getting flack about. Instead, we see all these tweets about this collusion shit, and it was just so crazy because by the time we saw it, the apology had already come through. So it wasn't even like time for us to say like, oh God, like what's happening here? Instead, it was just like, I'm sorry, overreacted, and it was over, right? But it was over before it even started. Apparently, and I've learned this the hard way. You can't say anything about Eris. You can't do it because he has a billion stoners. He has a billion stoners that will jump to his defense. Yeah, it's an army of stoners. So you can't do anything. And so in this sort of situation, where I think that Cool Gray AJ was way off the mark in his comment in the first place, and you got to remember too, Cool Gray AJ, this is not the first team he is the FGC manager of. He was also the FGC manager of Evil Geniuses in the past. And if you go back to Evil Geniuses, that was Justin and Ricky Ortiz, and they were like, that's like historic collusion back in the day before collusion was like enforced essentially, right? So he was a part of it. So I think that's why the term collusion probably triggers him more than it triggers maybe other people. But I mean, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was pretty obvious it was a joke whenever Eris did it. I don't know what else to say about that. Beel?
Oh no, he was definitely very triggered. He ended up like banning people in chat just for saying it. And I'm actually a mod on the Tekken channel as well, so I was seeing what was going on. So he was banning people for talking about collusion, and then
Cool. Are you talking about Cool Gray AJ? Was banning people?
AJ banned people
for talking about collusion.
Yeah, and Z the CEO, another Tekken mod, ended up banning, just timing out people who said the word collusion for like 1 hour each time. He put the chat into slow mode as well, and I was just watching this going, what is going on here?
Oh my goodness.
Because he was making my job hard, because I had to unban him.
So, you had to be the secret hero mod, secretly unbanning everybody?
I mean, I kind of got a reputation for that in Eris's channel.
Okay, hold on. So wait.
I had to turn off slow mode, and he forgot to turn it off too. So
on Twitch.
Here's the funny thing I want to mention.
Okay.
Z the CEO, if you look at his Twitter profile, he says he's a writer for Echo Fox.
I think you linked me that, right? Is that
to protect the Echo Fox interest, he was timing out people who said collusion. So, isn't that actual collusion? If he uses his power to protect Echo Fox.
Wow. Yes, I'm looking at it here, and so Z is a writer at Echo Fox? I didn't even know he was a writer at Echo Fox. First of all, because I thought he only was like writing at TekkenGamer.com. So the writer of Echo Fox GG tweeted at Eris that Eris is making his job hard about these collusion comments after the Echo Fox manager went off about collusion, basically. Is that about sum it up, Beel?
So pretty much, yeah.
Collusion. Collusion. These damn Echo Fox colluders, huh? Jeez Louise.
Sipping those pina coludas.
God. And why is Josh McCorder Ice Age in this, Beel?
Oh no, he's just like the other person who was supporting that, apologizing on behalf of the community, the entire community, for what Eris did.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, okay, so this is funny. Like reading this tweet, he says, "I apologize on behalf of the community and TOs. We have to and will do better. I will personally coach our TFC tournament commentators on this. If you want unprofessional shenanigans, by all means, watch literally any other stream on Twitch. For the rest of the FGC, we got y'all."
Also highlighted that it has like no favorites on that other comment.
What?
But we got y'all one.
Oh
yeah.
God, Beal, you're such an online drama queen, man. It's hilarious. But basically, you know, I mean, I think it's kind of weird. This comment in general. I don't really know Josh, so it is what it is. I'll see him at TFC this weekend, you know, and I'll be commentating at TFC, so he can personally coach me on what collusion jokes I'm allowed to or not allowed to make. But to be honest, this is one of the beautiful things about the Tekken World Tour. It's that there are no sponsors. There are no sponsors on the Tekken World Tour. So when Eris and I are sitting there and Marvel's coming up next, it's gonna look good, you know, because no one is sponsoring us. You know, the PS4 goes down. Oh my God, we have to talk about the PS4. All right, so even before when SCR started, right, the JDCR was up there for 30 minutes on the stage as like the PS4 kept crashing or whatever, and then he had some other issue with like somebody hitting the home button, etc. And I was going off. I was just getting pissed at the PlayStation, and I went off about it. I was like, PlayStation is not a sponsor. Like, can Sony PlayStation get their shit together for our tournaments? Not just Tekken, for all these tournaments that run on PlayStation. Because you know why? They're not a sponsor. In fact, nobody sponsors the Tekken World Tour, which is why I understand when all you guys are taking your sponsorships, because you don't know what's going to happen next year, because there's no sponsors currently, right? So how can this be profitable?
Except Twitch, right?
I don't even know if Twitch is a sponsor because they don't show it on the overlay whenever we do the Tekken World Tour events.
That's weird. I know the pod. Like the pop bonuses
definitely come from Twitch.
Then after that,
right? And so I don't know if Bandai gives that money to Twitch and then Twitch distributes it, or if that's like Twitch is supporting the tour by putting the money in themselves. I don't know how that those funds get organized or whatever. But personally, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice being a commentator when there's no sponsors. You know, like who's gonna get you in trouble? You know, like Eris can say, "Everyone, shut the fuck up." You know,
bro.
like. The mods have a serious job to do. That is, I'm sorry, but that really triggers me a little bit because being a mod is not a fucking job. You do not get paid to be a mod.
Right click, bro. You got serious business with that right click button.
A job. You know what actually is a job? Commentating is actually a job. You know, we actually get flown to these events. We get paid to sit there and commentate these matches, etc. Right? That's a real job. You know, we're not making your quote unquote job you sitting in a chat the day of an event when you don't have to be there. It's not a job if you don't have to show up, right? Like, what kind of a job is that? That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh shit, Z the CEO's in the chat. Should I read this now? All right, let me read. He says, "I didn't know AJ's ending when I tweeted Eris. Also, I didn't time out for an hour, but 5 minutes. Didn't ban anyone. Also, I did the same when people talked about King J. My actions weren't Echo Fox related." There you have it. That's the statement from Z the CEO. Cool Z the CEO, but this shit's still not a job. I'm sorry. It's still not a job. Let's see. What else do we have to talk about here? The PS4 went down. This was crazy, man. Grand finals. It was tied, I think. No, I don't think it was tied. I think it was 2-1 maybe. Or was it tied 2-2? I don't recall. But it was Saint versus JDCR. It was final round of that game. And controller unplugs. And it was player 2 controller unplugged. And Saint looked up like, what the hell? And then JD's sitting there, like, they're homies, of course, but JD's like, I don't know what's happening. It wasn't me, you know, because, like, it says player 2, that's you. And, you know, Eris and I were talking about on commentary, but it seemed like, you know, maybe Saint had a joystick malfunction. And when I look back at this now, you know, and I'm pretty sure I said this at the time, too. I'm like, how do we know it's a joystick malfunction and not the PlayStation 4 itself? Because if it's the PS4 itself, we are literally disqualifying the player out of an entire set in grand finals, right? Because JDCR was up 2 games already. and this is the final round. So we literally gave him an entire set of grand finals for something we don't know was his fault. Like, usually this rule exists because you want to punish the person who interrupted the match, right? But if it's the system that interrupts the match, which I don't know that we can prove, right? But I've heard that the same issue was happening at EVO, and I think it was in the Filipino champ match in Street Fighter V to get into top 8. I believe it was holding up the entire, like, transition in top 8 because the PlayStation kept freezing or something, or kept dropping the controller input. And somebody told me it's because of a power drain. If there's not enough power to a PlayStation 4, that the USB port shorts out, the USB bus. And so I don't know if it's always the 2P one that goes out, or if it's any of the ports that could go out. You know, like, but either way, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
I think it's probably just like a minimum power allowance. Like, let's say your joystick has a lot of LED buttons and lights. That power requires a lot more power, and when it drops below that threshold, your control's gone. And I don't know if Saint was using a certain one with like any like LED shenanigans on it though. He was using the Quanba Obsidian, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it has an LED on it for all the Obsidians, right? All the Obsidians have the LEDs on the sides. I personally have never experienced it, but yeah, I have no idea, But regardless, I thought that was such a blow up, right? For the grand finals of the tournament to have that, and also Bin Chang just saying like, "Oh, my bad, I booked my flight wrong."
That was crazy.
You know, so I mean, that was
and
the
it
top 8.
started 2.5 hours late. Jesus.
Injustice has to be 3 out of 5, bro. It's not even part of the Injustice Pro Series right now. You know, which I want to talk about briefly, but you know, there's not a whole lot going on. But let me just briefly recap. Injustice Pro Series finals happened in LA. Sonic Fox won. He's like a billionaire now. And then the top 8 from that tournament is going on to E-League, along with the top 2 from GameStop Hometown Heroes, the top 2 from Liga Latina, the top 2 from Path to Pro in Europe, and as well as 2 more from the Last Chance qualifier. That'll be happening at E-League starting October 21st. That's the Injustice news. But Injustice ran 2.5 hours late, well, everything was 2.5 hours late, I suppose, right? Because Injustice started a little bit late as well. And then Tekken was super late, and Bin Chang had to go home. He booked his flight for the wrong time, essentially, right?
Was one of the tournaments you just said called Legal Latinas?
It's
it sounded like a porn name, dude.
Hold on, what did you just call that? Legal
Latina.
Legal? I didn't say legal.
God,
God,
that's what I heard. All right.
Okay, wait. What is league? Was it League of?
No, it's like I'm trying to find it. Hold on a second. I'm trying to Google this right now. It's Injustice. It's like ProSeries.Injustice or something. There it is. ProSeries.Injustice.com. It's yeah. If you scroll down here, is this the one? Maybe it was the other one. Damn, man, I'm all confused now. But here it is. Yeah, it's right here. It's Liga Latina. Oh, it's Speedkicks face cover. There it is. Liga, Liga.
Oh.
Yeah, Liga, not Legal Latinas. Legal Latinas. Oh, okay. Man. I hope we got some Brazilians that won from there. But moving on, we've got what next? We've got SCR stuff we just talked about. You guys think Xbox killing Tekken? I mean, hopefully, you know, some Americans can beat them eventually. As far as I understand, in JDCR, he won EVO, right? So he's qualified already. He is in for the global finals, right?
Yep.
And then you've got Saint, who told me that he's already locked in for the Asian side of points. So there'll be 4 other Asians, including Saint and JDCR. Then you've got 5 Americans, which, you know, we've seen the rankings already multiple times on the show, but maybe I can pull it up. Yes, I can. Boom, there it is. Current standings: Anakin, Speedkicks, Joy Fury, Peeling, and LUYG. Peeling, I saw, you know, he's unsponsored currently, but I saw a tweet from UYU that, you know, they think he's going to make it a DreamHack Denver, which, of course, a shitload of points. I think it's like 300 points for getting first there, right?
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep.
So basically, if you win DreamHack Denver, you're basically in the global finals, right?
Yeah, you won 2 Masters.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. So I don't know if 300 points is actually the points number that you need to secure a spot in the top 5, but if so, you know, winning
Mr.
DreamHack
Knapp's
Denver.
not too far away, and he's going to the Fall Classic. If that's not, is that a secret? Or is that
No, it's not a secret.
Oh.
He is going
cool.
to Fall Classic. He is competing again in Tekken. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the competitive Tekken World Tour in a nutshell currently, right? I keep on seeing these tweets coming through. So yeah, this is a tweet right now. from Bronson that says, LOL, I hear it's coming back around orbit in reference to Strong Style is the Haley's Comet of Tekken. So it sounds like Strong Style might be making a comeback. I would say at this point, don't hold your breath because it's Bronson, and until something's actually announced, whatever. But obviously, if Strong Style happens, I'm gonna be there, right? I haven't missed a Strong Style yet. I don't plan to miss one now, unless of course there's some kind of crazy conflict. But the Koreans are signed up for TFC. However, I don't think they're coming. I saw Saint and James are in the brackets. Mm-hmm.
I keep hearing that they said they weren't going to go at SER.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from multiple people as well. What's even more shocking? I looked through the Fall Classic brackets. I just want to do like a little rundown of it, for my stream viewers and say like, hey man, let's take a look, see who's where, etc. And what I noticed most about the Fall Classic is that I saw basically none of the New York guys there except for Reno Face. So there was no Bloodhawk, there was no Fighting GM, there was no Fab, there was no Fernando, there was no Real Law. Like there was no Incognito. Where are all these guys that go to NLBC? None of these guys are coming. And I was like, isn't Fab sponsored? And, I was looking at the list. I was like, he's in 6th place overall. He needs to get into 5th, right? Why wouldn't he come out to this? And then I found out Fab isn't sponsored either. So right now, the free agents for Tekken is insane. It's Anakin. It's Peeling. Way Gamble. Fab. I think Sukin is still sponsored, right? Yeah. Cody's sponsored.
Flashpoint.
Rip is number 10th right now. That man is still not sponsored as well. That's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Jimmy J. Tran in 12th place, also not sponsored. I think it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And are you planning to go to TXT in Chile? Speedkicks?
No.
Why
No
do you say like that? That's so many points.
No.
Yep, it is. I can miss one master event, and that's going to be it.
Can you?
Yeah, as long as I don't choke at TFC, like I have a habit of choking at random challenger events.
Man. Tell me this. I mean, what happens if you do choke at TXT? Are you going to Chile?
No, I'm just going to go to regionals and not choke.
Wow.
Damn.
Risky
Extra
business.
pressure.
Extra. Yeah. One other question I want to ask you guys about SCR. They made an interesting decision to not have in-house commentary. Because the commentary was just for the stream, and then for most of the other events, they let the commentators out, like, in between matches, but not during the matches. And I think that was primarily for a coaching aspect. They didn't want the commentators to inadvertently give advice to the players. What are you guys' thoughts on this? It's like an old topic, but it's come up again, and I say this because at Evolution this year, they had 2 sets of commentators, right? One set of commentators was for the stream, but then they had another set of commentators who were just for the arena in-house. So, your thoughts. We'll start with BL for this one.
I mean, they want to just separate out the commentator requirements, right? They want the one that's top 8 in the arena. They don't want anyone that would actually compete, where they have to have a chance of getting up there on the stage. So it does make sense to kind of separate them out into 2 different pairs.
So, but you would you like to have commentary in-house? Or do you, like, because I feel like as a spectator, if I'm at SCR and I've traveled here from out of town, it's like, and like I'm not necessarily a player who's going to make top 8, and I'm sitting in the crowd and I'm watching this, I think it's less interesting to me when I don't have commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, commentary would be good, but at the same time, you don't want to distract the players, and the FGC doesn't have enough of a budget to have those soundproof chambers that certain other games have.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
League of Legends doesn't actually. League of Legends has been like having this huge controversy. Like it's been a controversy for a minute that the players don't have soundproof booths. They can like hear everything and all that stuff.
So they're just booths. They're not soundproof.
No, they don't have any booths. League of Legends doesn't play with booths.
They of all people can afford it.
Yeah, Dota 2 plays with soundproof booths.
And CS:GO has booths too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But League of Legends doesn't?
Nope, and the commentators just really don't give out that much info.
Ah, interesting. So it's like the commentators like, oh, looks like they're trying to sneak a dragon right now. Like... I mean, that seems like... I feel like it would be way worse for League of Legends than it would be for fighting games.
Yeah, and, I think it makes the events more of, like, events, right? So... For us as players, right, we love coming out and competing and getting our top 8s and trying to make the grand finals and stuff like that. But for other people that just casually, enjoy coming out and seeing these events, buying stuff at the booths and all that stuff, providing that in-house commentary makes it a more entertaining experience for them, and makes it more worth to go out and just be sort of a viewer and like participant of the FGC instead of hoping to win a tournament.
What about yourself as a player, though? How do you feel about having in-house commentary?
As a player, it doesn't bother me that much. I've never I'm really aware of the factors that give my opponent information, and I've never noticed my opponent do something differently because a commentator says something.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike, let me get your thoughts before I phone in on this as well.
I mean, I definitely do see both points of views that Speedkicks is bringing up. Like when you go there, you want to have a reason for players to come out or just people to come out to the event and see it live and not just be at home, watch it on the stream. So I do think in-house commentary is important, but I feel like as a player, it's a double-edged sword. Honestly, you're playing with a loaded gun because there are times where I honestly never play with headphones because people in the crowd might tell me a strat that I might hear, or I hear something else for a strat for the other player that might play, that I heard, so it's like I know what he heard because I heard it, and then it's like, or at SCR last year, like when Eris was like, oh, he's getting too defensive against Jackie Tram, time to do this or that. I honestly, that's when I started using something else because it's like that was a strat for me, because I heard it.
So you actually, as a player, are listening to the commentary while you play.
Hear it. Or the people in the crowd, or if it's or people are randomly screaming out, "He's weak in the legs." I'm gonna go for an up forward too. I use it to my advantage sometimes. It's like you play with the hot potato sometimes. It's just but that's why I'm saying it's a double-edged sword. You can use that to your advantage, or it could bite you in the ass for listening to that. So it's like you really have to pick and choose on what you listen to and what you think that they heard, or what they heard listen to and might try to do to you.
Like when the crowd says, do it again, you have three options, right? You have
do it again! What does that mean? What does that mean?
You have the option to mix them up with the thing they told you to do it again with. You have the option to do it again, and you have the option to ignore it. And you have to guess what is your opponent also thinking about what the crowd just said.
Yeah, which actually just makes it a wash, right? Because you have to assume your opponent heard it as well, and you're both in the same position you were last time.
Yeah, so it's like, wait, does he think I'm going to do it again? Or
do it again! Oh, God, that's so funny. I didn't even think, were you in the top 8 when me and Eris were commentating that at Combo Breaker?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, that's where that whole do it again thing started. That's what I was wondering. Because
really?
I haven't heard from any of the players who were on the stage at the time to know if that do it again thing affected them in any way like that. That would have been really funny. But yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's fine. I think that, especially for fighting games, having started in the arcades, people would say stuff behind you all the time anyway. It'd be like, damn, he keeps hitting them low. When somebody says that, you have three options, basically.
Remember,
right?
MLG, Eddie Pistons, put some lotion on them ankles, put some lotion on them legs, or freaking anybody from ATL back in the day, Poke Chop, you got Clint, all them, Big Boy going in. They're loud as hell, man. It's but that's the fun of it,
It is. And so, I personally, as a player, I kind of feed off a crowd regardless, whether I'm a player or a commentator even. I didn't realize that until EVO this year, but point is, I feed off the crowd no matter what, and I prefer to have it out there to have everyone hear everything, basically. So I want the commentary to be in the house. I want everyone to hear it. And, just for reference, a lot of these events that have done it recently, the way they angle the speakers of the commentators is in front of the players, so the players have a harder time hearing it, and it's to the crowd. You know what I mean? So the direction of the speakers is pointed away from the gaming area where the players are at, so that it's harder for them to hear it while it's easier for the crowd to hear it. So that's the idea at most of these events that do that now.
Didn't Nationals have in-house commentary?
That is a great question.
Yeah, it did.
I think it did, and I remember noting to myself that I couldn't really even make out what was being said while we were playing.
And the thing that was crazy about Nationals though was that we had multiple matches happening at the same time, right? It's 4 matches at a time at any given moment.
Oh yes.
And so the commentary would be going on about some other shit, and you'd be like, are they even talking about me? Oh, the crowd's getting hype. I don't even know. I gotta focus. I gotta focus. And I think as a tournament player, you end up having that focus anyway. And I think you're able to, at least if you're a good tournament player, you should be able to, block it out when you need to, right? I think that's a tournament strength to have anyway.
And you also have the options of headphones too, or earplugs, whatever you want. So it's
they
like,
help. You know, they might not block out everything, but they certainly help, right?
yeah, exactly.
All right,
I
so
mean, there are alternative options though. Like I think some sporting events, what they do is sell little mini radios, and people can just plug it in and listen to commentary on it without interrupting the players or whatnot.
you wanted to sell hundreds of radios, Beal? Come on, dude. With the
Not
FTC.
radios, maybe an app,
Ooh, like Twitch?
like an LUYG app. Well, Twitch without the delay.
Twitch without
Just
the
for
delay.
audio.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because you want it to be on the spot live. I think that makes sense, right? Don't they have... Yeah, okay. That's an interesting idea, Beal. That's an interesting idea.
It would have worked until they removed all the headphone jacks from all the phones.
Yeah, but you know, all those phones that without headphone jacks, they still have, you know, wireless options, right? That's not a
Yeah,
terrible
wireless
idea,
options
Beal.
with everyone using it, not as good.
I mean, the only issue with that would be like, you know, when you go to these events, a lot of time you don't have reception or something, right? You don't have reception, or everyone can't be on the same Wi-Fi because it'll kill the stream. So maybe not the best of ideas. I don't know. It's a decent idea though. It's a decent idea.
Mm-hmm.
We should come up with something, Speed. Aren't you some kind of software engineer too?
Yeah. What are you talking? Okay, you're talking about like direct commentary feed.
Yeah, direct commentary feed through an app to get it to everyone's device without necessarily being on the Wi-Fi together.
Dude, I saw this shit at like Japan at a music festival. It was called Summer Sonic 2017, and then one of the stages was called Silent Disco. They just gave
Twitch.
Yeah, they just gave everybody a set of headphones. There was a DJ up there, but you're watching from outside the stage, and it's just like, yeah, a bunch of people getting crazy with headphones, but there's no sound. They're all listening to the same thing. So it's just like the DJ's like, yeah, whoa.
How did they get to the give them all headphones?
Yeah, they gave them all headphones, and then, you know, there was like LEDs, red and blue ones, boom, 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 wherever the beat's going. But it's like only the people with the headphones that were on the stage got to hear whatever's going on.
It was like those 3D glasses that feeders give away, except it's headphones.
Yeah, just get those out.
God. No, at Speed, yeah, the difference is, of course, that on Twitch, there's the delay, right? So when you're live in the crowd, you don't want that delay. But yeah, okay, that's most of the Tekken stuff. The last thing we need to talk about Tekken stuff is version 1.07 came out last week, right before SCR, right? That was the latest arcade patch, which we
Version
talked
N.
about previously as well, right? Like, Lee got a little bit of buffs, Kazumi got a little bit nerfed, Dragunov had a nerf in his down back 3, but also a buff in his while standing 2. Eddie's rage drive now is, I think, inescapable on block, uninterruptible on block, right? Characters could parry to something before. And then, on top of that, version 1.08 just came out, which you can see here, Harada tweeted out, Tekken 7 will be updated soon, bug fixes. Loading time on quick rank match was longer, loading of the stage will be a little faster, etc. So I think he's saying things are faster. I think that's what 1.08 does, and here is the updated history from the PlayStation itself. Improved optimization of the game's performance. I don't know what that means. Removed max number of players for the tournament matchmaking conditions. Wait, what? So there's no max now for tournaments?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
Does that mean that there's no, like, you can't change the limit of players?
No, it means when you're searching for tournament matchmaking, you can't pick max number of players. It's not a filter anymore.
God, it's not a filter anymore. Okay. And then change the information displayed about your opponent during standby for warm-up. What was that? What is the change for this one, Mike?
Yeah, that one, it just shows their rank now, and then their disconnect rate. Yeah.
So rank and disconnect rate is what you see.
It still does not show the player's handle, though.
Got it. And then made adjustments to the behavior of the throwing gauge in the Ultimate Tekken Bowl. So Tekken Bowl got a patch, and it fixed various bugs. All right. Cool. Well done. That's version 1.08 of Tekken. Last thing to talk about, I think that wraps up most of the Tekken information here on the stream, on this podcast, I should say. But, Marvel vs. Capcom just came out. It's the hot game. It was at SCR. It was the kickoff of the Battle for the Stones, right? The Battle for the Huevos.
For the cacahuates.
Right. And, the thing is, everyone's down on it, right? And I was wondering, is it going to affect the sales? Let's take a look here.
Dude, I've been watching the reviews too, and it's just like everyone is just pointing out the visuals. Everyone's just pointing it out.
It's like, hard to overlook.
It's right. Like, oh, the details on their clothes look super sick, but look at this face. And then you see like a side-by-side Dante comparison to like an Attack on Titan face. Like, it's just like, what is going on?
So right now, this title says Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is a flop in the latest UK charts, right? So in the UK, if we scroll on down, oh, I lost it, but here it is. Marvel Infinite debuted at number 12 in all formats. For PS4, it was number 16th in release, and the Xbox One version did not even get into the top 40. So that is a disastrous launch in the UK, right? But then we got more information. This was on the 25th. This was 3 days ago. But then I think just like yesterday or today, we got this information. Yesterday, this was from 4gamer.net. And in Japan, Marvel sold 8,000 copies. That is rough, man. That is rough.
How do you mess up in Japan? You know, they love Marvel stuff out there. They love the Spider-Mans out there. It's like they have their own like manga version of Spider-Man and stuff. They even had a Japanese Spider-Man on TV. You know, it's like how do they mess up so bad in the homeland of Capcom with Spider-Man already like hooking it up for half the country? Like, how do you lose? Like, how do you lose?
I mean, you know, before it started, we were talking about this, and Speedkicks says that the 8,000 people who bought it were all the Spider-Man fans in Japan. You know, like, they're all like, yeah, we love Spider-Man. We're buying Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Spider-Man's in there. Yeah. God.
Apparently there are more X-Men fans.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, you know, this is just terrible, though, for Capcom as a whole, right? Because, obviously, they don't want to be releasing terribly selling games. You know, the same problem they had with Street Fighter V now is repeating with Marvel, where I think at the end of the day they're going to have a complete package and a fully polished package maybe in terms of Marvel, but it's not there initially. And I think the biggest issues with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, number one, is the roster. I think a lot of people really wanted X-Men, and a lot of people have the thought process of if the X-Men aren't in the game, you shouldn't have made Marvel. That's where they're at. And on the other hand, I can see where Capcom's coming from. They're like, are you seeing these Avengers movies, bro? Like, we have to make a new Marvel game. It's too lucrative to pass up. So, you know, that happens. But I think the biggest fault they had was just, as you guys mentioned, the graphics. You know, the very first trailer they released, you know, they showed the story mode, which they were trying to sell as, you know, for the casuals, right? But that first trailer was so butt ugly. It's just, you can't debut a game like that these days, man. You just can't.
It just proves it. The proof is in the pudding. It's like, it's almost to the point now with Marvel that I'm starting to feel bad for all the bad news about that game. It's just like, I've seen all the reviews for it. I've seen like all the, you know, different channels or whatever reviewing the game, and everything comes down to the visuals. And it's just like, it's true, but it's like, oh, I hope they know they made a mistake, but it's like, I can't really help you guys at the same time. It's like, you guys, like, how do you go backwards from Marvel 3? You know, it's like half the stuff's already copy pasted anyways. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's already copy pasted anyways.
It's the art style, man.
They made everybody's character's face toe up, dude. Like, what is going on?
Toe up.
Like when I first saw that trailer, I thought they were gonna make it a mobile game, or they're gonna port it to mobile.
Like, actually.
I mean, it looked like an iPhone game.
It did.
Even Tekken Mobile looks better than it though. So I don't know what's going on.
I mean, the thing. Go on, Speed.
And it sucks that it looks so bad too, because the game is actually like really cool to watch, right? Like I was watching the SCR top 8. I saw it from the dude who, you know, had the game for months winning.
Yeah, F-Champ. Yeah. The best part is after that he tweeted out like, yeah, man, my 24-hour stream and 18-hour practice mode session paid off. That's what he tweeted out after he won.
Dude, Richard, what was the dude's name? Richard Nguyen. Yeah, that guy's my favorite player in the world right now.
Hell yeah,
he's my favorite Marvel player.
All right, so just a spoiler, like not even a spoiler, but I was actually reaching out to Richard Nguyen to come on this podcast tonight, but I couldn't get a hold of him. Apparently, the number I have is someone else now. Because I tweeted them, I'm like, "Hey, it's Rip. Are you still Richard?" And they replied back to me with like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "I just said I'm Rip." And then they're like, "You have the wrong number." I'm like, "God damn it!" So I was like, "All right, that didn't work out." But Richard Nguyen, if you guys don't know him, he just got picked up by Rise. Rise also has Marn and Mena RD on their teams. You know, and Mena RD, he showed up big. He showed up big at SCR for Street Fighter V. He took out Punk. Punk did not make top 8. For anything at SCR, which is shocking. That's your teammate, Speed. Panda Global. The Alpha.
Yep,
that's his teammate.
The Alpha. That's my teammate.
I mean, and he was doing really good in Marvel as well. But yeah, you know, going back to Marvel, it's just, it's absolutely crazy because the game is super fun. I am addicted to it. I cannot stop trying out new combos. I keep watching combo videos and saying, how the hell do I do that? And then I go and I try the combo. Impossible. after 1 hour, I start hitting half of it. And I'm like, it's possible. You know, I start believing in myself. And then it takes another hour. And then I'm starting to get the rest of it. I'm like, holy shit, what am I getting wrong? And then I like put it all together the next day. And I'm like, damn, that shit is satisfying. It is so satisfying. There's nothing else out there like that for me right now. So I'm a huge fan. It's so sad because I don't know if the game's gonna make it. You know, like
it just looks so bad. Like, okay, what's the first thing you see when you look at a game?
The game, you see it.
The game, you see the game. You're like, hey, this looks good. This looks bad. Like when we first saw Tekken 7.0 at Final Round, you were there with me, right?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this looks amazing. I want to play this, and I played it, and it sucked because 7.0 was a terrible game. But I was
just
hyped
needed a
before I
Kuma,
played
bro.
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just needed a Kuma.
Yeah, they fixed the game with the Kuma.
Yeah, and then they changed all the colors of the stages and the lighting and stuff. Remember, now it looks even better.
Yep.
But anyway, point is, you're right. The graphics suck, and Capcom fucked up with it. You know, I obviously they have some kind of big DLC plan in mind, and I think they're going to take the Street Fighter V route, where they're going to keep selling more additional DLC down the line and try to sustain and make additional income that way. But man, you know, that model works a lot better when you have a
8,000 in Japan. How are they gonna buy DLC if they're not even buying the game?
That model works a lot better when you have a better launch.
I heard it sold less than Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch.
That is crazy.
That is bad. That's
in
just
the home
bad.
of Capcom.
Yeah, and you know, I saw this. This is actually something else that's kind of random, but I saw it. Diesel, which is like a clothing brand, but they also make sneakers apparently. Now they've partnered up with Street Fighter to make these sneakers. There are Street Fighter inspired sneakers. Inspired sneakers. Yeah, so here's the birdie ones. The bison one looks pretty cool. Like this little thing here looks like the Shadaloo symbol a little bit, right? Not really, but it's got a fee for 5, I think. And then they've got the Chun ones look pretty cool, I think. Nash ones as well, and they have one more. Ryu. Yeah, they got the Ryu ones as well right here. So it's, you know, they're pretty nice. They're $200 each. I don't know how many people are super sneakers. They're gonna get a bunch of these, but I'm kind of hyped
Markman's
about them.
buying the whole collection right now.
Markman's gonna buy the whole collection.
Definitely.
I mean, why not, right? The birdie one looks kind of stylish, even if you don't know if it's from Street Fighter, right? I don't know. It's pretty neat.
No,
I always like
they're
seeing.
Not bad. Yeah.
I like when companies have merchandise for their games, you know. And I feel like Tekken has been lacking in that for a long time. Like, where's all the Tekken shirts that I can buy?
Hey, we got some pop figures though.
You're right. We did get pop figures. You know, hey, you know, you're laughing about that, but that's an improvement, right? That's an improvement.
I want a Steve pop figure, honestly.
Don't you? I want a Law pop figure.
I do. I'm
I
not
have
even
a
kidding.
King one.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one. See, I mean, I just want more merchandise for us in Tekken.
I agree.
Tekken as well. Let's see. Was there anything else here? I mean, Marvel, of course, we just mentioned Battle for the Stones tournament series. It's pretty interesting, right? So at SER, that was a qualifier, and whoever got second place, that person, I forgot his name. I think it was LTG's boyfriend, right? Cocksweat? Professor Cocksweat?
Sacktap.
Sacktap, that's his other name.
Wait.
Sweat.
Were you serious?
All of those names are his
Dude,
name.
Marvel players have the best name. Baba Ganoush, Snake Tits, you know, like, what the
You know, they didn't let Snake Tits enter as Snake Tits at SCR.
I heard Snake Tees,
Yeah,
esports.
Snake Tees. He got turned to Snake Tees because Marvel is a Disney property, man.
No, that's what I was thinking about too. What happens, like, you know, if Marvel ever gets picked up or anything, like a ESPN or like a big E-League type of thing? Can Snake Tits go on TV as Snake Tits? That's what I was thinking.
Hell no, man. Don't you remember even ESPN for Armika, they made her use the other outfit.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It's
I did
definitely
not-
happened. But yeah, let me tell the people at least. You guys probably already know about it, but the Professor Cocksweat, Sacktap, he got second place, and he gets the Space Stone. So the way this is working, at the end of the year, I think it's going to be at Capcom Cup because it's the same weekend in Anaheim, but there's going to be an exhibition tournament. They're going to take the past 7 Marvel 3 and Ultimate Marvel 3 EVO champions, and they're going to put them in this 16-man tournament. So there's 7 EVO champions. They're going to have 6 tournaments: SCR, Canada Cup, CPT Latin America Finals, Southeast Asia Majors in Singapore, Milan Games Week EU Finals, and Red Bull, it says Proving Grounds, but I think they meant Battlegrounds, where in these 6 tournaments, the winner of each of those, who are not EVO champs from before, will get one of these stones. So you'll get, like right now, Sacktap, he's won the Space Stone. And so in the exhibition tournament, he's going to be able to use that Space Stone to move within that vertical line of the bracket, right? Or horizontal line of the bracket. That round of the bracket, he can swap to any position he wants if he wants to use his stone. And then whatever the other stones are, they're going to unveil over time. So the Mind Stone, the Reality Stone, Time Stone, Soul Stone, Power Stone, that's what you can get for winning these other events. And I mean, what happens if you have multiple stones? What if you win multiple events? Does that mean you can be like, I've got all the stones, bro. I can move around this bracket with ease. Is that what that is?
They would have the Infinity Gauntlet. Just
They would start fusing with other players and shit. Like, who knows?
Yeah,
like,
and so that tournament's going to be for $30,000. It's going to be an exhibition, obviously. It's going to be in just 2.5 months, I guess. 2 months. It's going to be December 8th to 10th. So it's only two months and a week and a half away or something.
This is crazy to me.
Money?
Yeah. I mean, $30,000 divided by 60. Is that 8,000 copies? I don't know.
No.
I don't know if they're going to break even on this one, boys. You guys better buy the DLC and support this game, or it's not going to make esports.
It's like, I don't know, this whole idea of the Space Stone is like, it's really interesting, right? Because like, there's no type of tournament before this. You can fight for the stones, but it's like, are those stones really that valuable? You're just basing this off of the last game, you know, like the last game's track record. Oh, that guy was a champ, that guy was a champ, that guy was a champ. I mean, we did get obviously a champ from first place again, but it's like, we don't know all the killers yet.
Yeah,
it's like it's too new.
Right, so, okay, so, I mean, it's an exhibition, first of all. 7 of them are EVO champions. 6 of them will be from these tournaments they're running, right? So the 6 should be the new killers, right? Because the old EVO champs can't win those spots. Then they're also going to have 3 online tournaments. And there'll be 3 people from online tournaments who will get in as well. That rounds out the total 16. So I think, personally, it's a cool exhibition. Like, it's obviously not designed for, like, $500,000. This is going to determine who the best in the world is, you know? Like, they're making it fun to watch. They're kind of giving you incentive to go to each of these different events because who knows what the next stone is going to do in this tournament, right? Like, maybe the Time Stone will let you go back. Like, I didn't lose that match. Rewind. I didn't lose that set. Rewind, right? Time Stone. Who knows, right? That could be crazy. Or Soul Stone, imagine that. You lose, you come back to life.
Revive yourself, triple eliminated from a tournament.
Right? Power Stone, you only have to beat the guy 1 game to win the set.
Oh my god.
I'm making these things up, but we don't know what they are, right?
If you lose in the tournament, you get the stones, you have to give up your stone if you don't use it or something.
Right, exactly. So I think the rule is everyone's entering the tournament with these stones, right? So there'll be 6 of these stones that are given out before the tournament starts, and then when the tournament starts, you have a chance of using your stone. If you don't use your stone and somebody beats you, they take your stone.
That is so sick.
Yeah. So somebody at the end could have the Infinity Gauntlet if no one used their stones, right?
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. All right, I see.
It's a pretty good tie-in with Marvel there, right? I mean, it's an exhibition. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to watching that when it happens at Capcom Cup, I assume, because it's the same weekend and it's also in Anaheim, California. So yeah,
I'm just wondering how many of those powers would kind of interact or crisscross. Because if that's the case, there might be some collusion.
Shit.
God,
yeah, like, I used to stone
all right, Beel, you're banned.
Making our jobs too hard.
The Reality Stone, the blue one, you can swap places in the bracket, right?
That's the Space Stone.
Space Stone. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
So it's like if first round of the tournament,
you just become the winner right away.
That's Reality. Nah. Reality probably makes you a spammer somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, Space Stone essentially is first round of the tournament, right? You say like, oh, I got Justin Wong first, but that online guy who won looks pretty whack. I'm gonna go use my stone and beat that guy's ass instead. You know, like I think that's the idea behind it. Or the top half of the bracket looks like there's nobody in it, but the bottom half is full of all the killers. So I'm moving to the top half of the bracket.
So what if Soul Stone's just to revive yourself in the tournament? How can you keep that if you're out?
Right?
This is like weird.
It's like Phoenix level 5. You automatically resurrect.
Damn, that would be crazy.
Oh shit! That's
Soul
crazy.
Stone automatically revives you. Ooh, that would be nuts. Anyway, yeah, enough speculation. We'll see. That's the plan. They're gonna tell us more about these as all these events come out. One other small thing. I mean, there's some other stuff that happened. With some NRS drama, which I can talk about very briefly, but I don't have that actually. I don't have the tweet, but there's a long tweet thread that came up after the IPS finals in LA, where people were saying, there's so many issues with the IPS tournament, the Injustice Pro Series. That's what the IPS is. They're saying the schedule is rushed. The game came out in May. the tournament series is over by September, and then we have E-League in October. Why was it all so rushed? And then they were saying the payout is too top heavy because even the IPS finals, right? These are the top 16 players from the season that was 4 months long. These guys went over to LA to compete, and then only the top 8 got paid, right? So it's like, what about the guys who got 9th place for the entire season? You get nothing, but the first place guy, Sonic Fox, I assume he won like $70,000 or $100,000 or something, right? So it's personally, I've always wanted to spread the payout lower. I always feel like you need to pay lower so that more people can make it worth their time to try to do this, right?
120, yeah.
$120,000 for first, right? So imagine they said, all right, $100,000 for first. We'll spread that $20,000 to the bottom 8 people. I think that would have made a lot more people interested in competing again for the next season, right? Like, at least you made a couple $100 or something, right? I don't know. That's how I see it. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
They got money for qualifying, right?
Say that again?
Like, in the tournaments that qualified them, they got money, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah. So, take that. Sonic Fox, this is 120K.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Wow. So for you, like, say, okay, for example, then Speed, like, you're in the top 5 right now. You make it to the global final. There's 16 people there. You've won money in making all these spots now. You get to the global final. Let's say they give out $250,000. You get 9th place. You get nothing. You're cool with that?
Yeah. I mean,
really? You don't think you should get like at least something for making the global finals, even for going to all these events and getting that top 5?
I don't really play for the money, I guess. But and when you're playing, it's a reward for winning, and you didn't win.
I think that's your opinion. I disagree with you completely. Get off the call. No, I'm kidding. But no, personally, I just feel like money does matter. Like, you're a sponsor player right now. You've been on 3 teams this year. You get flown out to all these events. But let's look at like 5th place. Let's say LUYG stays in the running the whole way through, right? I mean, realistically, he's putting a lot of time and money himself to go to all these events. Currently, he's not sponsored, but he's going to the Fall Classic, I hear. And then he's going to lose some money there. And like, maybe he's not going to win the Fall Classic, but maybe he'll still make it in somehow, right? What's he going to do when he gets 9th place at the globals? He gets nothing for it. I feel like it's kind of whack, especially if JDCR walks away with 150,000 and it was like, 2nd place was 70,000, and you're like, well, you could have given $50,000 for that bottom 8. Like, I just feel like you might as well spread the love a little bit and let everyone have more incentive to keep continuing to compete for future years down the line.
Yeah, I mean, okay, right. I see the thoughts behind that. I'm not against like paying out lower. I just don't see the concept of like complaining about not getting paid for losing. Like,
sure,
you lost.
Sure.
Like if I get 9th place and they pay me, I'm like, oh, sweet, I made some money. If I get 9th place and I don't get paid, I'm not gonna be like, yo, I should have gotten paid. This tournament ran terribly.
No, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. I just feel like, most of these tournaments we go to, there's over 100 players. You get, like, I think you got 9th at SCR, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you got 9th at SCR. There was 160 players or something, and you got nothing for that, right?
Right.
You got absolutely nothing for 9th place, and it's like you beat a lot of people to get there.
Yeah, but I lost.
But then you lost. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I feel like I wish that payouts went lower, because you have to remember 7th place did get paid. All right, so top 8 did get paid at this event. I think 8th place got like $250 or something, right? Obviously not a lot. So obviously, if they had made like $1,000 for 8th place and you got nothing for 9th, I'd be like, come on, man. Spread it out a little bit thinner. At least give you back your flight, give you back your hotel. That way, at least people can afford to go to these events without having to get a top 8 finish. That's the way I see it anyway. Because I don't.
No,
feel
yeah,
like...
I definitely agree with that. I always thought they should have always been spreading this out a little bit more. Like maybe top 12, top 13, top 16.
Top 13? That's a weird ass number.
Yeah, no, because that's how the standings go, right? You're all tied for
16th,
13th or 16th, and it's just like maybe that's the way they should go. It's like, especially like I was thinking about it for like, no doubts to Knuckle do or anything for that Capcom Pro Tour, the grand finals, but it's just like $200,000, $200,000, and you can't spread that out to like top 16 or something, right? It's just like pretty wild.
I mean, yeah, the winner obviously deserves a big chunk, right? I just
of
feel
course,
like we
I agree
also
with
need
that
to pay
too.
out lower. Yeah,
it needs to be a fine balance between the two. It's just like it's like you said, like those people that don't have sponsors that are using their own money to get out there. It's just like kind of sucks sometimes.
Weren't most tournaments like top 3 payout? like a long time ago.
Before. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that
right.
was. So I mean, when I first started going to Evo, like 2005 or something, my whole goal was to get to the top 8, right? So finally, it took me like 3 years or 4 years. I made the top 8. I got 7th place, and I was like, I just played on the Evo stage. You know, that was like my goal, and I got nothing for it. You know, I paid to go to Vegas. I paid to enter this tournament. I got to the goal, which is playing on that stage in front of the crowd, and you know, putting on an entertaining top 8 for all these people in the crowd, and everyone else made money off of me as a player, but I walked away with nothing, right? Like literally nothing, for losing, of course. But I feel like I deserved something because I at least beat so many people to get there, and I was on the stage for the finals, showcase, whatever you want to call it. So that's the way I looked at it back then. So from back then, I've always thought like top 8 should at least get paid, right? And since then, I feel like as the prize pools have increased, we still need to support people to get them to go to more events. And I think one of the ways to do that, I think, is by spreading the payouts lower down into the placings. And I'm not saying it has to be like, oh, you got 32nd, here's $500. You know, it's not like if we ever get to that point, that would be great. But we need way more people. And I think a part of that reason is if you look at poker tournaments, because poker tournaments pay out super far down the line as well, and that, you know, it gives poker players more reason to come back to more tournaments because even if you get like 16th, you might win back your buyback or whatever, buy-in or whatever. You know, so I think that's kind of where that mentality comes from. It brings more people to the table to enter because they feel like they can at least make their money back. And you know, if you have more people entering, you have generally bigger prize pools for all the players anyway. I think that's the logic. I don't know if it actually works or not. Yeah. All right. I think that might be it. We're running late. I always try to get this done in an hour. It never goes an hour. It's impossible. One last thing I want to touch on very briefly. Fortnite. Free-to-play game, right? Beel?
Yeah, free to play,
Free to play.
and it has controller support as well.
Okay. This game is out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and maybe also on PC, right?
Yeah, I think you need the Epic launcher
Okay.
for that one though.
Sure.
So it's not on Steam.
Here's what happened. In the past week, somebody was playing online, and they recognized the player there that had a space in their name. They're like, what the hell? You can't have spaces in your name. So we tried to message him. Didn't work. He's like, well, that's weird. He doesn't have a PSN account, but you can't have spaces. So how the hell does this guy have a name in there? So then he's like, well, let me boot up my Xbox and try to message this guy there. So he goes on his Xbox. He messages the guy on Xbox, and it's like, hey, wait, this is the dude I just played against, but I'm on PlayStation 4, and he's on Xbox One. What the fuck? And so then they start talking. They realize crossplay is enabled between PS4 and Xbox One.
Whoops.
So then Epic goes and they say, you know, whoops, let's fix that. And so they patch it out, right? Like it's like a switch. It's already there. They just switch. Never mind. No crossplay. And you know, after this happened, the Xbox guys were like, well, we're open to playing with PS4 players, and Sony didn't say shit. Am I about right about that, Bill?
That's pretty much about right. I mean, Sony has very strict requirements on their servers. They absolutely do not want any crossplay whatsoever.
It's insane. And like, I can't believe that. So first of all, Epic, Unreal Engine, you know, it's the same stuff we use for all our fighting games, right? Whether it's Street Fighter 5, I think Marvel is also an Unreal Engine, right?
Was it Unreal? Let me look that up.
Yeah, I don't know. And then also
Does it
Tekken,
lag?
of course. Yeah, did it have input lag? Yeah, it probably does. You're right. Right. And so all these games, they could have crossplay. Isn't that nuts? I mean,
Yeah,
I can't
Unreal
believe,
Engine 4.
I can't. The biggest thing to me is I can't believe that it just works when people might have the same name in game, right? Like I could have Razorfire on PSN and on Xbox, and I could have logged in on both and played, but they don't even care about that. They're like, whatever, it'll work. You know, like it's already taken care of. But it just they're like, all right, whatever, can't do it. So, anyways, I guess my point is, yeah, don't listen to any bullshit about crossplay not being possible. It's all about Sony. It's all about Sony not wanting it to be possible. Because technically, it works. All right? All right.
Not cool.
Just play on a PC anyways. Why are you playing a shooter game on console?
Anyways, that's about it for this show. But I'll let you guys plug your stuff. MYK, start with you.
I am MYK at Twitter at the name is MYK and Twitch and YouTube, but just add an 88 at the end of that. But
So
we're in
YouTube
it.
add an 88.
Yeah, the name is MYK88.
Got it.
Oh.
BL.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter and Twitch at BLbeel. I do IRL streams at those tournaments. Ricky covered day 1 on SCR. I covered day 2. So there are a lot of offline matches that were not caught by, like, were not on stream. So that's the only place to really catch them.
IRL
So definitely check that out.
IRL is pretty cool. Twitch.tv/BLbeel. Speed, what about you, man?
Okay, follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Twitch at Speedkicks ATL and Twitter at Speedkicks. I stream Tekken sometimes, and I get in Twitter beef with Tekken producers.
Are you playing online much at all in Tekken 7?
Not that much. I'll play PC online sometimes.
PC online sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's mostly practice mode.
All right, mainly practice mode. Make sure you guys follow all these guys. Check out their Twitch channels. If you guys want to type them in to the chat so that people can find it. Man, Ludfees, how are you going to put the guy's Twitter and misspell it, bro? I can see that one E right from here. Yeah, sped kicks, dude. Come on. You can't be a mod and doing that. You know how, I mean, look, I'm sorry for criticizing your job in the chat right now, Ludfees, you moderator, but come on.
Making his job's too hard.
It's too hard. Left behind callings. Left behind callings. This is the last segment of the show where we just, leave someone behind each week. BL, let's start with you.
All right. Well, I mean, you already know about the whole AJ drama, but the thing I found the most funny is that Ice Edge guy apologized on behalf of the community to AJ, and then AJ apologized. So where does that leave Ice Edge? You got left behind.
Damn. I think that's like a logical left behind calling, I suppose. Was that it, Beal?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Speed, you got anyone in mind?
I didn't. You should have told me this before. I could have thought about it a little bit.
All right, we'll come back to you. I'll give you a second. MYK.
I think mine has to definitely be Capcom.
Capcom.
Like, what the hell happened, guys? Like, Marvel 1 was honestly my first fighting game. So it's like, that game has a lot of, like, sentimental value to me. It's just like, seeing those characters, seeing them be able to do this and that, all the craziness and that. And it's like, I just remember the first time seeing Marvel 1 in the arcades, right? Like, kill him with a hyper combo, and it's like, Tatsumaki Temple Kyaku, and like all that stuff, It's like, that stuff used to be tight. How do you go backwards from the last game in like 6-7 years? It's like, how do you go backwards on a new console nonetheless? And it's just like 8,000 copies in Japan. Are you kidding me? You probably had, oh my god, dude! Like you probably had more than 8,000 people watching the new Spider-Man movie. You couldn't even get them to buy your game, like. My god, dude!
It's pretty
in
rough.
The homeland of Capcom too.
I gotta say, leading up to all this, I heard a lot of stuff about like, Marvel is gonna help promote the game, so it's gonna be super successful. And right now, we had the Japan and the UK sales numbers, but we have not seen the USA numbers. And historically, Marvel is a USA game, right? So. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed they don't die, because that would be disastrous for all things esports, because we need Capcom to stay alive, otherwise everyone else kind of dies with it.
Yeah, I mean, we have to keep them all afloat.
About it.
It's just, come on, guys. Like, look at Dante's face. Look at Chun-Li's face. Like, who said it was okay? Like, who okayed this? Like,
Mike, that's pretty messed up. You can't leave Capcom behind when they're the ones who came up with Left Behind in the first place. It's pretty wrong.
Sometimes it happens, man.
wait, didn't the Left Behind guy get left behind as well? Because his profile no longer says Capcom on it. It just says esports.
Get out of here! Are you saying John D is no longer with Capcom?
Or whatever his name was?
No way. John D is no longer with Capcom?
Well, I don't know if he's no longer with Capcom. Last I heard from secret sources, he was on the way to a promotion, actually. So he might have been promoted out of that certain row.
I don't know.
It's just what I heard. There's a lot of that.
You are the TMZ of our little show here, Beal, for sure. It's like you need your own segment. Like, what's the BL deal about it?
The BL on the BL with the DL.
Oh,
God damn.
On the DL.
I shouldn't have even tried. I should have known he already had something for it. God. All right, Speed, you ready yet?
No.
No? All right.
No.
Well, lucky for you, I also am not ready. But I don't really think that I have anything to leave behind. I mean, SCR was a lot of fun for me, right? I got to commentate. The PS4 stuff was like super annoying, personally, just because I feel like Saint really shouldn't have lost that set. I feel like Sony really needs to get their shit together. So right now, I want to leave the PS4 behind. That's where I really want to leave behind. I want to leave it far behind. I played Monday Night Tekken this week, and I played it on the PS4 online, and I could not believe how bad it is. It's
right. It's ridiculous. What happened?
I don't know what happened, man, but it's unacceptable. It's literally unacceptable. When you look at the PS4 and the input lag problems it has across all the fighting games that we play, whether it be Marvel, Street Fighter V, or Tekken 7, then you look at the tournament problems we have with the USB ports failing, or just
and they don't even play nice with the crossplay, and it's just
they don't play right. And additionally, you also have to remember, they also have the home button issue still. Like, why isn't there an option to say that a controller can only join the system via USB? Like, I understand they have Bluetooth built in, but have an option.
And it's so tedious to desync the controllers too, and you could have up to like 32 controllers.
Why not have a delete all button? Right?
Why? Oh my God!
I'm just saying, there are plenty of reasons that the PS4 should be left behind as the tournament console of choice. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because all these TOs have already invested so much money into it. And if you just look at something like the Korean Tekken Master event, where the TOs were complaining about like losing money, etc., because they had to buy all these consoles, you know, other TOs across the world, they're not ready for this yet. And all the TOs that do exist, they've all invested in PS4s because that was the #1 selling console. So right now, Sony is leaving us behind. You know, we're all left behind with the inferior versions of all these tournament games.
Fucking sucks. Yeah. What a 2017. What a time.
Speed.
What a time we're living.
Wow. I am like
I'm
like the most happy dude with
you
like,
are.
He's like leaving himself behind on the second.
Speed, how do you feel about your match with Naps? Like, and the reason I ask about this is because, you know, you came out there. This is the match to get into top 8 at SCR. You beat him 3 rounds straight. I think I may have bet on you on this match. And it was 3 rounds straight, and I was like, what is happening? Speed is beating the shit out of him. And then Jimmy came back on you, you know, and he pulled himself together. This was after he just lost to John Ding, right? So some people were wondering, like, maybe he was coming off that loss and his head wasn't all there yet, and then he adjusted, right? But historically, how do you and Naps do against one another? Anything you can say about what you think you did wrong in there without giving away what you're going to do to him at TFC this coming weekend?
Historically, I only played him a little bit in like casuals and tag 2, and I like won a lot of those. And then Tekken 7 came out, and the play style that I thought was really bad in tag 2 that he stuck with all the way through, it's really good in solo Tekken and in Tekken 7 specifically, and it's a bit of a problem.
Can you elaborate on that? What's his play style?
Yeah. Jimmy said it before, he doesn't like making reads, right? And if you ask me, Tekken is a game that is all reads. So it's like two conflicting ideologies about the game.
I think it also has stuff to do with your characters too, maybe.
I think we picked our characters because of how we think about the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Very true.
But yeah, in tag 2, you know, making reads and playing like sort of whole like read-based gameplay was a bit easier because you had more data to work with, right? If there's more health bars in the game, more health, then you see moves more often, you see more repeat things, you get to get in your opponent's head and see exactly what's going to come, you get to make those reads.
Sure.
Solo Tekken, not so much. It's more so about not dying as opposed to killing the other guy. And Jimmy is a master of not dying. And you can see in the first game, I threw all my reads at him, and it worked out. He made a couple at like the first round of the next game, and I was shook off that. And then he went back to playing his, you know, not dying gameplay, and he just sort of killed me slowly.
So if you play him again at TFC, you think you got him this time?
I'm confident in my run back ability. I'm not just going to say I got him because I have no idea how he's going to, you know, if he's going to play a little bit differently, if he's going to adjust or not. But I'm confident in my ability to not lose the same way I did at SCR.
All right, there you go. All right, so you still don't got nothing, right, Speed? I try to buy you time there.
Can we leave my losing behind? I'm really getting sick of choking.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you are one of the most inconsistent players out there right now, right?
And in Tekken 7, yeah, definitely.
There you go. Leave it behind. Speedkicks. Trying to get better. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you everyone for being on the show. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Boom.